Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
All right, let's get into it. We all spend, way too much time staring at spreadsheets.
Oh, hours.
Hours, right? Just trying to find that one stat that actually predicts a breakout, especially for tight ends.
Yeah.
It is the absolute wasteland of fantasy football. You either have, a superstar or you're streaming some guy just praying for a touchdown.
It's the most volatile position for sure. And that's what makes this Does It Matter? Deep dive. So interesting. We're zeroing in on one metric. QB rating when targeted.
Okay.
So basically, when a quarterback throws to this one specific player, what's the passer rating on that throw?
Which, that immediately brings up the whole chicken or the egg thing for me. Is a tight end great because he's a true talent, or is he just, lucky enough to be catching passes from Patrick Mahomes?
That is the exact question this whole analysis is trying to figure out. We're digging into Pro Football Focus data, going all the way back to 2015. The goal is to see if this metric is like a crystal ball for fantasy points or if it's just a side effect of good quarterback play.
And I really like how they set this up. It's not just a big data dump of the entire league.
No. They took the top 50 fantasy finishers each year in PPR scoring, and then they split them up.
So you get a really clean comparison.
Right. We're contrasting the top 10, the guys who win you your league, against the bottom 10 of that group. The guys finishing from 41 to 50.
The waiver wire guys.
The waiver wire guys.
Yeah.
We want to see what, if anything, separates the elite from the bench warmers.
There was one stat that came out of this that, honestly, it made me do a double take. You just don't see numbers this clean in sports data.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. The consistency.
Yeah.
In every single season they studied, that's 6 out of 6 years, the top 5 fantasy tight ends had a higher QB rating when targeted than the guys in that 31 to 50 range.
100% of the time.
100%.
That feels really significant. It's not just a trend. It's more like a barrier to entry.
It is. It feels like a prerequisite. You can't just stumble your way into the top 5 with sheer volume if you're inefficient. But the study goes a step further and actually gives us a benchmark, a magic number to look for.
And the magic number is 98.
A QB rating of 98 or higher. That's the threshold. If you're scouting, that's what you want to see. The data showed that tight ends who hit that 98-plus mark, they appeared in the top 10 at a rate 28.3% higher than guys who didn't.
That is a massive edge.
It really is.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second. We see trends like this pop up all the time, right? And then they turn out to be just random noise. Is this statistically significant?
Fair question. And that's where we have to look at the Pearson value.
Right. For those of us who slept through stats class, what is that again?
So it's just a measure of correlation. In a super chaotic environment like the NFL, we're usually just looking for a value of 0.1 to say, okay, there's a real signal here.
And where did this metric land?
It came in at 0.175.
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At BrainyBallers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting abilities so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance, and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
So it clears that bar pretty comfortably.
It does. And to give you some context, think about QB draft capital. The Pearson value for QB draft capital is negative 0.219.
Wow. So this tight end stat is sitting in the same weight class of reliability as when was the quarterback drafted?
It's a legitimate scouting tool.
Yeah.
It tells you who's an elite athlete making plays versus who's just, a product of their system.
Okay, so let's turn this into draft strategy. You're looking at a rookie or maybe a breakout candidate.
Yeah.
You check their rating from college or the year before. If it's over 98, you're looking at a pretty high ceiling.
And a much safer floor. I mean,
yeah.
if you're eyeing a sleeper pick, but his QB rating when targeted is sitting down at, say, 85.
Yeah.
The math says a top 10 finish is statistically improbable.
Well-
You're really betting against the house.
So use 98 as the filter.
It just simplifies a very, very messy position. You're investing in efficiency.
I love that. But before we wrap, here's a final thought to chew on. If a tight end's value is so heavily tied to the quarterback's rating when he's targeted, are we actually scouting the receiver's skill set? Or are we just scouting the chemistry they have with their passer? Something to think about next time you're on the clock. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.